Hello, my name is Trish Simone Wild, and I am a mystic. I'm an oracle, I'm a channeler, and I always have been. And this is an introduction to me coming out of the psychic closet and what channeling is like for me, and introduce you to Simone.
For those of you who have been with me for a little while, I've been talking more recently and openly about my psychic gifts and channeling abilities and how that has come about. I've also talked about it more openly in my personal life with people. But this is the first truly public announcement of this. I've recorded a couple different public announcements of this, but it was not time to post them. It was more getting myself ready and getting into practice. So I have always had gifts in channeling and mediumship, but as a child, I was very scared. I watched Exorcist way too young and too many horror movies, and I didn't really understand how it all worked, and I just found it all very scary. I didn't have a lot of resources to help me on that, but I was always interested in spirituality and religion and how people connected with the angels and what all the different belief systems were. And then as soon as I started driving, I turned 16 and I went and I started driving myself to bookstores and reading tons of stuff from Edgar Casey and Nostradamus and Sylvia Brown at that time. I watched her on Montel a lot. So this was always something I was very interested in, but I never truly leaned into my own mediumship and psychic abilities. One, because I found it scary, but two, I was on survival mode for a lot of my life. I realized that I had to work through a lot of trauma. I had to really sort of learn how to be comfortable being in my own body. A lot of my life, I was kind of moving through survival mode and very actually detached from my body. So I couldn't feel my own body. I've had a lot of chronic health issues and illnesses, which I've talked about and incorporated into my coaching business. And all of these things were blocking this ability. And actually, in 2018, I was reading my own tarot cards. I was going to different healers. And the thing that they were all telling me in 2018, oracle card readers, they're like, the cards, any spirits, however they communicated, all of them were saying the same thing, that you have to fix your health. Nothing is going to tell you where the future lies or where you're going next if you don't fix your health. And that was back in 2018. And if you know anything about my life, it's too long to explain it here. Since 2018, I've had massive changes and shifts in my health, including moving, going to DPT, I went to a major inpatient program in 2021. I've brought plant medicine into my life. I left education, which was really hard and difficult for me. A lot of my relationships changed. I came out of a lot of closets. So I've really changed my life in 5 years in a way that's also really fixed my health. I'm not going to say I'm all better. I still have ways to go. I still have tons of issues with migraines and digestive issues, but I'm getting there. And the other thing that's in place now that I didn't have before was the kind of support system I needed in my life and be living and loving in a way that I needed to be. And for me, that is queer, that is polyamorous, that is very open and honest and not living separate lives. So that means I had to be okay with, if I was going to be this honest about who I am, losing people. And I have lost people in the last 5 years. I've lost some best friends and people that I thought I would be close with forever. And that's hard. It's been hard. But I think if I had stayed where I was, I wouldn't be on this plane anymore. If I didn't change, if I didn't heal, if I didn't grow and be willing to lose people, I was going to lose my life. That's how much pain I was in and how much my heart was hurting, trying to fit into somebody else's idea, mostly my own, of who I thought I was supposed to be in the world. So I'm really grateful that I've found people like Greg and my other partners that are open, and I'm also really grateful for my blood family that has stayed by me, even though I keep getting weirder and weirder and weirder. You know, one of my friends told me, he said, you know, you reinvent yourself a lot, and he goes, you know, you do what you need to do for yourself. He's like, you know, the thing is, you've always been so weird that nothing really surprises us anymore until you do. So that's kind of how I got to where I am. So if you've never watched somebody channel before, if you have no idea what channeling is, well, I guess you're going to find out. And I'm going to actually let myself go into the channeled space right now and let Simone explain it. Simone is the name of the channel persona that's coming through me. And I'm going to move into that space now. Trish is doing her best to calm her nervous system. It is important for her to embody this experience because channeling for her can feel like a trauma response or an anxiety attack at first, which is one of the reasons it was so difficult to do earlier for her. She had to do a lot of work in learning to calm her nervous system and her own anxieties, which she came by honestly because of traumas, both in this lifetime and in other lifetimes. And so she is working to visualize herself not leaving her mind, but slipping. She's singing a song. She's ridiculous. She's like, to the left, to the back. Simone goes to the right, to the front. Trish to the back, to the left. Simone to the right, to the front. She should have done that if she wanted to do it, not make me do it. Anyway. So my name is Simone, and I am a multidimensional being. I am a conglomerate of all of Trish's soul pieces moving through the galactic world right now. I am Trish, as you see her in front of you, here on Earth in this plane of 2025 during the new Earth shift. But I am also her in a starship and part of an Andromedan fleet, and her in a water being lifetime. So I am Trish, but I am, some might say, the wisest version of Trish. And I believe at this time, the way it would be best to continue is to have you, Greg, ask me questions to help keep me on track for what Trish has wanted to speak about for this public viewing, rather than just having me start on my own. So can you please start with the introductory questions?
Who are you? Who is Simone? Which you actually just described.
Who am I and who is Simone? Do you feel that I have comfortably explained this to a new audience?
I think you have. Like
Trisha's mother might freak out, and she doesn't want her mother to think that she is being possessed by a demon or something. So have I explained it sufficiently?
I think you did.
Okay. What is the next question?
What is channeling?
Channeling is aligning one's frequencies. That what Trish is doing is aligning her frequencies to my frequencies, and then I am able to align my frequencies to the galactic source, to earthbound entities, to other members of her guide team, and we'll get your frequencies online. And then Trish, through her human body, is able to translate the frequencies into something verbal that you can hear on the planet.
How do you connect to the frequencies?
How do I connect to the frequencies?
Can you describe how you connect?
I describe how I connect to the frequencies. Is that a different question, or did I already?
It's a different question.
Okay.
Can you describe a little bit more how you connect to the frequencies?
I follow the grid frequency lines that come up through the crystalline grid of the earth and follow them up through galactic source. One of the things that helps Trish to connect to this idea is drawing a symbol that she learned from another book, and then she adapted to the symbol to itself. She will share this symbol, but she visualizes that symbol in her mind, and it helps her understand how to elevate her own frequency to wherever it is she wants to go. Whether, because sometimes she does not want to channel me, she wants to astral travel or something like that, or go see her cosmic boyfriends or whoever. She's annoyed at me right now for saying that. Is that sufficient answer?
I think so. Let's see. What is actually happening for the channel to work between Simone, Trish, and other guides or entities who want to communicate?
So, if there is an external entity, like an earthbound spirit or an energy sucker or a galactic being, all of these types of conscious beings that are able to communicate. Generally, they either go through me or a different member of Trish's guide team. They talk to me and I talk to her. And then she thinks she's talking directly back to them, but she's talking through me. It's because she has decided that she can only hear me and her other guide team members directly. In the cases of her guide team members, she can speak to them directly as long as she's able to get herself to the right frequency. So if one member of her guide team's up here and their frequencies only go this far, if they're never touching, she can't get to them. So she's got to get her frequency to match her highest level of frequency to match their lowest level of frequency. In the cases of Fae or Earth and nature spirits, their frequency kind of looks like this. And she's got to get her frequency. You've got to get your frequency that you are vibrating at right now and working from, which that comes from the heart space. Okay, you're asking for more literally. We think that we're focusing to reach the frequencies from the head space. And in Trish's case, and many, many people's cases, everybody channels a little bit differently. Working from the heart space. So seeing that symbol for her in her heart space, and then connecting, growing up to source, and then rooting into the crystalline heart of the earth is what she uses to help her channel and tap into her own frequencies.
Okay. Why is Trish able or willing to channel you now rather than sooner in her life?
Do you want to speak on this?
Should this be more of a question to Trish directly?
I'm asking. She's telling me that it's important to understand that we are always able to do this kind of work, but most often we are blocked because of the things that we are going through. We are blocked by simply surviving. And in Trish's case, she had an immense amount of trauma that she had to overcome from her early childhood life in this incarnation, but also she had an immense amount of trauma from past incarnations. She was also helping to clear a lot of Earth collective trauma from certain time periods. So she had to work through all of that trauma, and then she had to reconnect with her body. In her case, she managed to do that through tattoos, which is really, really fascinating. She was running away from her body a lot because she is also a person who is here to sound the alarm about poisons in the world and how it is damaging the immune system and the body. So for Trish, she had to get her adrenal system working properly. She had to get her natural central nervous system working properly. She had to get her lymphatic system working properly, and she had to get her brain cut connection, her vagus nerve system working properly. The reason the gut and digestive health is so important is it creates a direct pathway through the heart through the central nervous system, and it works in partly through the vagus nerve. There's more nerves than that, but the vagus nerve is the one that is primary. She had to literally change her life. She had to be willing to change her life in order to do that. Some of that she had help with from climate change and losing everything in multiple hurricanes. But she, at that point, could have taken a different route, a different path. And she chose to continue to take this path that led to being able to channel me. And it was very much a journey that was through the dark night of the soul. This is she had to go through her dark night of the soul. We all have times where we go through the dark night of our soul, which is literally walking through the darkness of our own soul to reconnect as many pieces of our fractured soul as we can, which includes understanding that we are a multidimensional cosmic being and that our soul is having many, many experiences at one time. But just because it's having different experiences doesn't mean we need to be disconnected from it.
Okay. How does Trish discern who is speaking?
How does Trish discern who is speaking? She's getting better at this. There was a time in her life around 2009, 2010, where she was in so much pain and she had truly hit rock bottom, and she had made some choices that broke her own heart and hurt other people around her. And she had a motorcycle accident. She was so down that a sucker energy who wanted to feed off of her pain, her sadness, her desperation. And I do not wish to portray these sucker energies as evil, because there are ones that feed off of love and joy and pleasure. They're entities that they're a little bit more benign than people would like to call them. There's many, many different types of beings out there. I'm just referring to this sucker energy that attached itself. And if she were to be, it makes it harder to get yourself out and lift yourself out. I've lost the train of your question.
How does she know who is speaking?
Oh, that's right. So she did not know at that point that was being sucked off of her. Now she can look back at her life and know it. Generally, it's just the feeling. Beings that are of the light or operate around 400 and some hertz are usually allowed to speak to her more clearly and directly. Generally, if there's a lower level being around, she'll hear buzzing or ringing in her ear, and then she can decide if she wants to talk to them or not. And then many cases, they still have to do that through the guide team. And the guide team operates very differently depending on who's coming in. When she's working on medical diagnosis, Doc is her passed over former physician. He passed in 2018, and he was able to connect to Trish through channeling after she'd done a lot of healing work in just 2024 of last year. In the case of her guide team, John appeared to her very early on in his passing. He passed, when did he pass? Around 2016. I don't know. Time is weird. Anyway, he passed over shortly after it got Trish's attention through his psychic reading. Sent bugs and dragonflies and butterflies, the little things he could do while he was in his convalescent space. And then once he moved on from convalescent space, he was able to fully become a member of her guide team. Primarily, he works with her in mediumship. When someone who's passed over wants to talk to someone, they'll talk to him and he'll tell them. Or in the cases of an earthbound energy Trish will hear the buzzing in her ear, or if she's already really open and she's not realizing or paying attention, something will just pop up and it looks like earthbound entities look like a glitch in the matrix, like a glitchy light up silhouette. And she'll start like having desires to watch something or hear something. And it's them trying to get her attention. If she doesn't notice, they can pop up, and then she'll ask John to come in and help with opening portals or passing them over or communicating whatever needs to be communicated. So she's getting much better at discerning all of that. It's heavier energies, lower vibing energies show up in her mind's eye as a shadow. If she's tuned in, she can visualize. It's almost like a cartoon drawing of something. Clairvoyance is not her most natural gift. Her most natural gift is hearing and then knowing. I don't remember all the clairs, you all. Clairsentient and clairsentient, okay? And then feeling empathy. The other thing about Trish is she has always been an empath, and a lot of the pain that she would carry physically were other people's pain, that instead of taking it and transmuting it, she was holding it within her, and she had to learn how to detach and unroot those cords that were in, so to speak. Is that sufficient?
I think so. When Trish does readings, do you help with that?
Yes, if I'm asked to show up and help. A lot of readings from an intuitive standpoint are a combination of external sources like myself, tapping in directly into cosmic energy herself. She does not need to go through me to get to the Akashic or source information. And then a lot of it is her natural abilities to take a lot of information and absorb it all in and put it together and make connections in ways that many people could not. So it sort of depends on the nature of the reading and if I'm asked to or not. She won't need me as much.
Opening to channel does not mean opening to just all light and love. It is, we live in a polarized universe, and on Earth is that story is very strongly being played out. But as Trish has always said, the way out is through. You have to move through, and she has moved through enough for me to be here, and to introduce herself as a channeler. The body's getting very tired. And it is time for me to go for now, and we will keep working on this and practicing and figure out how all of this is going to look. Thank you. So that's my introductory video to Simone, and trying to piece together a couple of different videos to give you an idea of what channeling is like and a comprehensive view. I tried to make an introduction to Simone video a couple times, going all the way back to the end of the year. And this is how it finally has come out. Please reach out to me at my email, subscribe to my newsletters. I'll be doing channeling sessions with my community once a month, and catch up by subscribing to my Substack. And thanks for joining me, and it was a pleasure to introduce you to Simone.